When the assassin became the Doctor's salvation. Chapter 1. Raven Cross was the most feared assassin in the underground world, cold, ruthless, and utterly indifferent to men. Until 3 years ago, when she was ambushed and left for dead in a remote town on the Montana-Canada border. Dr. Marcus Chen, the local physician, dragged her back from death's door against all odds. For 2 years, she stalked him like a starving wolf fixated on its prey. But Marcus feared the blood-soaked world that followed her. He kept saying, "We're not right for each other." Until his grandfather suffered a sudden heart attack. Raven mobilized every connection she had, pulling the old man back from the brink of death. That was the moment Marcus finally surrendered. For 3 years, the small-town doctor who'd been content among his herbs and medicines died. What lived on was Mark, the man who handled her darkest affairs. But fate loved its cruel games. A month ago, he took a bullet meant for Raven from her enemies. She survived, but forgot him entirely. And Ryan Mitchell, the White Knight Raven had once desperately pursued, chose that exact moment to return. Without hesitation, Raven decided, this was her man, her heart's true desire. From then on, she collected rare cars from around the world for him, even infiltrated enemy strongholds to steal priceless treasures, all to win his favor. Marcus's world collapsed in an instant. He couldn't believe it was real. Not until this afternoon, when he finally understood he'd been nothing but a joke. Ryan had knocked over the only photo Marcus had of himself with his parents in Raven's study. The man looked terrified. "Mark, I didn't mean to, Before he could finish, Marcus backhanded Ryan across the face. Ryan clutched his cheek, looking shocked and innocent as he threw himself into Raven's arms. The woman's elegant brows furrowed. She turned and slapped Marcus without hesitation. "Who do you think you are? I suggest you learn your place." Marcus's blood pressure spiked. He stared at her in disbelief, pointing at the real culprit. "Then what the hell is he?" The woman didn't answer. She simply ordered her men to prepare the family punishment. Taking the whip from her subordinate, Raven didn't hesitate. She lashed Marcus with vicious force. When he collapsed unconscious from the beating, he remembered his early days in the organization. Her men had looked down on him, playing cruel pranks. It had been a small matter, but Raven had dealt with the offender harshly afterward. No one dared disrespect him again. Back then, she'd also called it family punishment. This whip tore open his flesh and shattered his heart. But he hadn't expected her to be even crueler now. Soon, cold water shocked him awake. On the study screen, a video played his grandfather being brutally whipped. The bloody images made his eyes burn with rage. "No." Marcus lunged at the screen like a madman, but was pinned to the floor, unable to move. He looked up, glaring at the woman. "Raven. That's my grandfather. Are you even human?" Raven bent down, gripping his chin, her eyes cold with warning. "Feeling the pain now?" "Marcus, didn't I warn you not to touch Ryan?" She released his face and straightened. "Next time, the video won't show whips. I'll make you watch as your grandfather gets fed to the wolves, piece by piece." His heart felt crushed. Marcus's pain was suffocating. He remembered everything. It had all been his delusion. On that stormy night when Grandpa was critical and the ambulance was stuck in mud, it was Marcus who appeared like a godsend, taking turns with his men to carry the old man on their backs for miles to the hospital. When local thugs cut off Grandpa's life-saving medication, it was Raven who led her people to destroy their hideout and brought him the medicine. When he went into the mountains alone to gather herbs and was surrounded by wolves, it was she who fought her way in, blood-soaked, to pull him into her arms. Every time, she came like an angel, pulling him from the depths of despair. He thought it was love, destined salvation. But now, for Ryan's trivial grievance, she could whip him in front of all her subordinates and use his only family member to torture him in the cruelest way possible. He, Marcus Chen, had been nothing but a fool from beginning to end. Seeing his devastated expression, Raven's tightly furrowed brow relaxed slightly. The study fell into deathly silence. Enough, Raven's voice was cold but had lost some of its edge. "It's just edited footage. Your grandfather's at home, perfectly fine." Marcus instantly collapsed, all strength leaving his body. "But Marcus," she crouched down, pressing the cold barrel of a gun against his heart, "remember what I just said. Ryan is my life. Touch him again, and I promise that video becomes reality." Marcus's face turned ashen. He looked at her, this woman who had once been his entire world, but her eyes now held nothing but cold cruelty. It was terrifying. He struggled to his feet and staggered out of the villa that had once held all his dreams of happiness. Standing in the empty courtyard, he pulled out his phone and dialed. The call connected, and a restrained voice came through. Marcus's voice was hoarse but eerily calm, carrying the resolution of a dead heart. "I accept. I'm coming back to New York." Chapter 2. The person on the other end seemed to exhale in relief. "Good. See you in New York in a month." Marcus didn't return to what he'd once considered home. Instead, he checked into a safe house on the organization's outskirts. Between his unhealed gunshot wound and fresh injuries, Marcus collapsed onto the bed. As consciousness blurred, familiar helicopter rotors thundered outside the window. He forced himself to the window and saw Raven ordering her men to carefully carry Ryan from the villa. Ryan looked at the woman, speaking softly, "Raven, I'm fine, really. Just a little scared." Raven's brow furrowed, her eyes showing the concern and heartache Marcus hadn't seen in so long. "Don't worry, Ryan. I'm taking you to the best hospital immediately." She protectively guided him toward the helicopter. The subordinates exchanged glances. Finally, Derek, who'd followed Raven for years, spoke up despite his reluctance. Boss, Mark's injuries are pretty severe too. Maybe we should. Raven cut him off. Can't you see how traumatized Ryan is? We leave now. But, boss, helicopters are only for emergencies, right? Derek couldn't stand it anymore. Ryan's matters are emergencies. Raven didn't hesitate, helping Ryan board. Also, no one gives him medicine. And you report for punishment yourself. The cabin door slowly closed, leaving only the indignant subordinates behind. Boss has lost it over that man. We've all seen what Mark's done for her and the organization over the years. This is. Marcus leaned against the window frame, watching helplessly as the helicopter disappeared into the night sky. The aircraft that had carried them through countless life-and-death situations now served only to protect her white knight. Against all odds, the fever broke under basic medication and Marcus's sheer willpower. The organization members looked at him with eyes full of sympathy and complexity. Mark had finally been discarded. That day, he'd barely finished handling some accumulated work when someone knocked. Mark, the boss wants you at the main house. Marcus took a deep breath, straightened his spine, and walked over. In the main house living room, Raven leaned against Ryan, reviewing documents while he played with a jeweled brooch. Seeing Marcus enter, Ryan's eyes flashed with barely concealed triumph. Raven, I'd like some tea, Ryan said softly, his eyes flicking toward Marcus. Raven didn't look up, as if Marcus were merely air. Go make Ryan some tea. Marcus's body instantly stiffened. He didn't move. What? Don't understand English? Raven finally looked up with undeniable authority. Or, would you like to see your grandfather again? Marcus silently walked to the kitchen, made the tea, and returned to Ryan. But Ryan didn't grip the cup properly. The cup crashed onto the Persian rug, scalding tea splashing everywhere. Marcus's hand instantly reddened. Oh. Ryan exclaimed. So hot. Raven, my hand hurts. Raven's brow furrowed almost imperceptibly, quickly replaced by concern. Clumsy fool, she snapped coldly. If Ryan's hand is burned, can you take responsibility? She didn't even glance at Marcus's scalded hand, only worried about Ryan's completely unharmed fingertips. Marcus slowly crouched, silently cleaning the broken pieces. The sharp porcelain cut his fingers, blood beading on his skin. Watching him humbly clean, Raven felt a flash of irritation, too quick to catch. Clean up and get out. Stop being an eyesore. After Marcus finished cleaning and silently left, the high fever seemed to return with vengeance. He found anti-inflammatory pills and swallowed them before collapsing unconscious on the bed. In his delirium, someone seemed to come by. He woke again to excruciating chest pain. Curled in agony, he looked down to see the area around his wound had turned an ominous purple-red. Years of medical experience and near-death encounters made him realize immediately he'd been poisoned. Someone had injected toxins to cause wound necrosis while he was unconscious. The safe house was basic but secure. No one could enter undetected except Raven. Only one person had motive to poison him, Ryan Mitchell, the man Raven loved to her core. He clawed at the bed frame, nails breaking without feeling it. Using herbs, Marcus forcibly suppressed the toxins temporarily. He needed the antidote quickly, or the consequences would be catastrophic. Just then, the safe house door was roughly shoved open. Chapter 3. It was Raven and Ryan. Marcus forced himself to stand, meeting their gaze directly. Ryan was playing with an antique pocket watch. Marcus's pupils contracted sharply. It was his father's heirloom, the one from the photo Ryan had broken. With the photo destroyed, this watch was his only memento, carefully hidden in the safe house's most secret place. Raven, look at this watch. It's old but perfect for tonight's gala. Ryan spoke casually. Raven looked at him indulgently. You like it? Then wear it. She completely missed Marcus's blazing glare. But. Ryan glanced at Marcus with feigned hesitation. This seems to be Mark's. Wouldn't it be wrong to take it? Raven's gaze lingered on Marcus's, wound for a moment, just a moment. His things? If you like it, it's yours. Her dismissive tone treated it like a trivial trinket. Raven. Marcus couldn't hold back. That's from my father. Give it back. Despite the chest pain, he lunged forward. Insolent. Raven's eyes turned sharp. Just a broken watch. Ryan wanting it is its good fortune. Make another scene, and I won't be lenient. Her past affection sounded unbearably ironic now. Ryan watched Marcus smugly. Thanks for the generous gift, Mark. I'll take good care of it. But Mark, you look terrible. Not some contagious disease, right? He cowered behind Raven. I have a weak constitution. I hope you don't mind. Raven frowned, scanning Marcus's infected wound. She didn't care why he looked this way or who caused it. Any hint of threat to Ryan had to be eliminated. Take him to isolation. She frowned. Ordering, you don't deserve this place. I don't deserve. Marcus repeated the 3 words softly. This safe house Raven had once promised only she and he could enter. Raven. He wanted to confront her, to scream, but the chest pain left him barely able to speak. Marcus was half-dragged from the safe house. Bang. The door slammed shut. He was taken to the basement, euphemistically called isolation. His familiar subordinates had been replaced by Raven, without mercy. The infection worsened, the antidote nowhere in sight. Marcus felt darkness consuming him. With trembling hands, he pulled out his phone. It's me. Marcus's voice was calm. Get the antidote first. I can't hold on much longer. After a few seconds of silence, it wasn't his subordinate's voice that answered. Mark? Huh, you better find a way to survive. Your loyal subordinate is with the Northern Syndicate now. If you want him alive, stay put and don't contact anyone outside. Marcus's heart sank to ice. His man, trying to prepare for his return to New York, had fallen into the hands of Raven's enemies. But, strangely, they only demanded he not act rashly. Marcus found it odd. By evening, music from Raven's gala for Ryan drifted from the main house. But Marcus was remembered. Chapter 4. The battered Derek found him. Mark, Mr. Mitchell requests your presence at tonight's gala. Marcus knew resistance was futile. Thank you. Your wound might be contagious. We need to treat it. One subordinate approached with a bucket. The strong, pungent smell of disinfectant filled the air. Marcus tried to back away but was pinned by another subordinate. Bear with it, Mark. Derek looked away, starting a video call, camera aimed but unable to watch. Disinfectant was roughly poured on Marcus's wounds, then scrubbed with cloth. Ah. Heart-wrenching screams burst from the basement. Familiar voices came from the video. Raven, that scared me. Ryan complained softly. The woman's voice, work faster. Don't disturb Ryan. Marcus knew his heart had died completely. Half escorted to the glittering gala, Marcus instantly drew all eyes. Shock, contempt, sympathy, schadenfreude. Raven embraced the elegantly dressed Ryan, accepting everyone's envy in the dance floor center. Seeing Marcus's increasingly pale face and purple-tinged lips, she frowned slightly. Ryan's eyes lit up. He acted concerned. Mark, why so late? You look terrible. Feeling better? A guest eager to curry favor approached. You might not know boss used to chase Mark desperately. But. She deliberately drew out her words. That's because Mark looks like Mr. Mitchell. Boss just missed him and needed a substitute. Now the real one's back, naturally the fake should exit. Right? Laughter erupted. Ryan pretended modesty while secretly smiling. So he's a substitute. I wondered why boss would choose some backwoods doctor. TSK, how pathetic. Kicked out when the real one returns. Marcus swayed, surrounded by buzzing mockery. Raven's irritated voice cut through. Enough. Take him away. Stop embarrassing yourself here. Before Marcus could process it, darkness completely swallowed him. He woke in the cold, damp basement. Boss said Mr. Mitchell is her life. Whoever upsets him tonight dies. The guard's discussion clearly reached him. Mark. Sigh, he used to be boss's favorite too. Pa. A substitute daring to compare with Mr. Mitchell? Didn't you see how happy boss was tonight? Roses airlifted from South America filled the hall. Marcus bit his lip hard. Once, Raven had lavished such romance on him too. So he was just Ryan's shadow. Now he wasn't even that just offensive garbage. Suddenly, the basement door burst open. In the blinding light stood Ryan, radiant. He held a small medicine bottle, wearing a venomous smile. Oh, not dead yet? Ryan's heels clicked. As he surveyed like a king. TSK, how pitiful. He shook the bottle. Here, special antidote. Raven's reward for you. Hope flickered in Marcus's eyes as he struggled to reach for it. Want it? Ryan smiled wider, then smashed the bottle at Marcus's feet. Oops. Slipped. Ryan exclaimed dramatically, grinding the fragments under his shoe. So sorry, Mark. Without the antidote soon, you'll die. Ryan. Marcus roared, trying to lunge at him. But Ryan was faster, yanking off the pocket. Watch. This old thing is so outdated. He snapped the chain and ground it under his heel. No. Marcus let out a desperate wail. Just then, light dimmed at the basement entrance. Raven's slender silhouette appeared, backlit and unreadable. She saw only Marcus lunging at Ryan, who looked terrified. Raven. Save me. He's trying to kill me. Raven's eyes instantly turned to ice, violence flooding the basement. Chapter 5. Looking for death. Raven roared. She grabbed Marcus's throat, slamming him against the stone wall. Ugh. Marcus's windpipe screamed in pain, legs kicking weakly. Raven. He tried to strangle me. I didn't do anything. Ryan pressed close to Raven, trembling. Seeing the frightened man beside her, Raven's minor irritation was completely replaced by rage. She tightened her grip. Marcus's eyes bulged in agony. Have I been too lenient with you, Marcus? Her voice was ice. Seems last time's lesson wasn't enough. Just as Marcus's consciousness began to fade, Raven suddenly released him. He slid down like a broken doll, trembling fingers futilely reaching for the watch remnants feet away. Always using this pose to stir her pity. Raven looked at him with disgust. Drag him to the torture chamber. Heavy chains. No one releases him without my order, and no medicine. Guard stepped forward. As Marcus was dragged away, his gaze swept over Derek's conflicted face in the corner. Derek's lips moved slightly, but under Raven's cold stare, he chose silence. Marcus stopped struggling, letting himself be dragged to deeper hell. In the dark, damp torture chamber, iron shackles locked Marcus's hands and feet. The chest's toxins, catalyzed by despair, attacked viciously. He was like livestock abandoned in a corner to die. Time passed unmeasured before the iron door burst open. Several blood-soaked strangers appeared at the entrance. Not Raven's people. The scarred leader's eyes were venomous as a snake. The Northern Syndicate. Well, look who we have here. The man codenamed Viper approached with a sneer. TSK, Raven's cruel enough, torturing her own man like this? He crouched, yanking Marcus's hair up to force eye contact. Heard Raven treasures her new toy like her own eyes? Viper's voice dripped with malicious temptation. Want revenge, Mark? Work with us, we'll help you kill that bastard. We'll help you collect what Raven owes you. Making deals with the devil? Marcus only wanted his grandfather safe, only wanted to leave this hell. No, impossible. He breathed weakly. Humph, Viper's eyes hardened. You think I'm asking? Take him. Just then, gunfire and fighting erupted outside. Damn, so fast. Viper yanked out a knife, pressing it to Marcus's carotid artery, shouting at Raven's rushing subordinates. Tell Raven. If she dares follow, I'll stab her man 10 times. And her man's grandfather is already our guest at the Northern Syndicate. Want them both alive? Trade that bastard Ryan. Grandfather. Marcus felt struck by lightning. He struggled violently. No. Let my grandfather go. You animals. Shut up. Viper backhanded Marcus's temple with the knife handle. Blood gushed instantly. In the chaos, Raven appeared. At the torture chamber entrance, radiating terrifying killing intent. Behind her, Ryan clung tightly to her arm. Raven. So scary. Ryan's voice trembled. Raven's gaze locked on Viper. You and your men won't leave here alive today. She ignored Viper's threats. They were insignificant bargaining chips. Her entire focus was ensuring Ryan's absolute safety. Raven raised her gun, steadily aimed at Viper while shielding Ryan more securely behind her. Blood mixed with tears ran down Marcus's face. The festering wound in his chest, along with his soul, was completely ground to dust. He closed his eyes, waiting for the final gunshot or Viper's enraged knife. Either would be release. Gunfire shattered the torture chamber's silence. Raven immediately shielded Ryan. Don't be afraid, Ryan. Before dying, Viper used his last strength to scream, Marcus, you betrayed us, curse you. This dying frame-up reached everyone's ears. Ryan embraced Raven. Raven, Marcus, did he really collude with the Northern Syndicate? Raven's eyes blazed crimson. She stepped to Marcus, her boot grinding into his festering chest wound. Marcus writhed in pain, vision blackening. Bastard. Raven's voice dripped ice. So that's how those Northern scum found this place, you traitorous dog. She gave Marcus no chance to explain, pressing harder. For revenge? Or helping them kill me? Marcus convulsed in agony, lacking even the strength to refute. His heart hurt 10,000 times worse than the wound. He saw the rage in her eyes and knew explanations were useless. She trusted Ryan completely. Boss. Mark, Derek in the corner couldn't help speaking. Shut up. Raven screamed, gun suddenly aimed at Derek. One more word, and you die with him. Derek's face paled, jaw clenched tight. Take him to the water dungeon. Anyone who goes near shares his punishment. She ordered coldly. No. Marcus screamed desperately, struggling frantically. Raven had already left with Ryan, not looking back. Chapter 6. The freezing water dungeon instantly submerged Marcus to his chest. Heavy shackles chained him to the stone wall. Sewage soaked his festering wounds, bringing fresh waves of agony. Time passed unmeasured before footsteps echoed above. Ryan's smug voice rang out, Raven says to help you think clearly. The drugs in this water, I specially added them for you. Enjoy for a few days. Marcus looked up sharply to see Ryan standing above, gleefully pouring powder down. The corrosive stench spread instantly, sewage churning violently. As powder met festering wounds, it felt like thousands of red-hot needles stabbing simultaneously. Marcus's body convulsed violently in the chains. The corrosive pain made him wish for immediate death. Ryan leaned down, savoring his dying struggles. Enjoy my gift, your reward for taking the traitor's blame for me. Ryan clapped, and captured Northern Syndicate thugs leered as they entered. They're yours. Boss says you can play with this man however you want. With that, he turned and left. Stay back. Marcus's screams drowned in the thugs' obscene laughter. Rough hands tore at his clothes, foul breath on his face. Ha. Raven gave you to us boys. A grown man pretty as a little beauty stopped struggling, ha ha ha. The yellow-toothed thug leered, but his satellite phone suddenly vibrated. He answered impatiently. What? An unervingly calm male voice carried undeniable command. Viper's dead, but the deal continues. Bring that man out. To the designated location. Not a hair missing. The thug hesitated, unconsciously looking at Marcus. This man's almost dead. If he's harmed at all, you'll all be buried with him. The voice turned icy. The person Ms. Tao wants, not even death can steal away. Move fast. The call ended abruptly. Ms. Tao? The thugs exchanged fearful glances. After a silent exchange, their lewdness vanished. Damn, lucky you. Take him. Marcus curled on the truck's metal floor, Raven's cruelty playing on repeat. In his mind, he didn't know what awaited him next. Suddenly, the truck's roar shattered the silence. Raven's SUV charged like a bloodthirsty beast, ramming the truck's rear. The woman kicked open the door, her figure wrapped in hellish cold. Raven didn't even glance at the northern thugs, her gun spitting fire, instantly clearing the area. She strode into the truck bed, crimson eyes locking onto Marcus. If Ryan hadn't told me, you'd have escaped again. She grabbed his hair. The organization's traitor shouldn't dirty others' hands. Cold blade tip pressed against his cheek. Marcus gritted his teeth, just glaring at her. Raven's blade slashed. Blood beaded on his pale cheek. Traitors deserve my personal attention. Marcus was dragged back to the organization's basement, chains locking tight. Severe pain blurred his consciousness. The door opened. Raven and Ryan entered. Sign it. Raven threw paper and pen at Marcus's face. Confession. Write clearly how you colluded with the Northern Syndicate, leaked our structure and layout. Marcus saw the contents, all false accusations. He looked up sharply. Dream on. I didn't do it. Raven grabbed his chin. Still tough? Seems you don't want that old man's fingers. She signaled her subordinate. The subordinate immediately produced a tablet showing video. In a dim room, Grandfather was tied to a chair, pliers aimed at his pinky. Grandfather. Marcus's eyes blazed. Right. This isn't edited. Raven's voice was cold. Don't write, and I'll order them to pull out his fingers one by one. Then feed them to dogs. Ryan added, Mark, just confess. Don't make the old man suffer more. Raven's just angry at you. Marcus glared at the pretentious man. It was clearly you. Me? Raven, Mark says it was me. I really didn't. Ryan looked at the woman with grievance. Raven gritted her teeth in rage. Do it. Chapter 7. Don't I'll write. I'll write. Marcus looked at his grandfather's terrified face in the video, trembling all over. He grabbed the pen, hand shaking badly. After the last word, Raven seized his pus-bleeding finger, pressing it hard on the signature line. That's better. She looked satisfied at the bloody fingerprint, eyes colder than knives. Ryan, keep this safe. This is the iron proof of this bastard's betrayal. Marcus relaxed slightly but didn't dare feel completely relieved. Yes, this was Raven's true face when she didn't love ruthlessly cruel. The confession was read publicly. The organization erupted in outrage, angry curses nearly drowning Marcus. Traitors deserve death. Ungrateful bastard. After boss protected him so much. Raven sat in the main seat with Ryan embracing her, eyes pitying yet triumphant. She raised her hand to quiet the noise. According to rules, traitor Marcus Chen receives the bone nail punishment. Several subordinates brought up a nail board. No. Raven. Kill me. Just kill me. Marcus looked at the nail board in absolute terror. Kill you? Raven. Smeared. Too easy. I want you to suffer endless torture alive, the price of betraying me. She waved. Make him kneel on it. Let him think clearly. Marcus was forcibly dragged to the nail board, knees pressed down hard. Ah. Iron nails instantly pierced flesh, the agony making him scream. Blood flowed down the board. Ryan looked away, clutching Raven's hand. Raven, it's too cruel. Mark, Cruel? Raven held him tight, eyes emotionless. Ryan, you're too kind. You need to learn slowly to avoid being bullied. For traitorous dogs like this, make them remember the pain. Ryan shuddered involuntarily. She walked to the nearly unconscious Marcus. How's it feel? Marcus, remember your life now is my charity. You're worth less than my pet dog. After the nail punishment, Marcus was dragged away like mud, legs mangled, barely alive. Raven frowned at his blood and festering wounds. Drag him away, clean him up. Don't dirty my floor. Subordinates dragged him toward the water dungeon entrance again. But Ryan approached with highly concentrated salt water, as if gathering courage. Wait. Mark, you wronged me. I'm really angry. I need to learn to punish you too. Raven paused, as if charmed by his cuteness. Ryan's right. Ryan's lips curved. Without hesitation, he dumped the entire basin of salt water over Marcus. Salt water like molten lava poured over every wound on his body. Marcus's body arched violently with an agonized scream before consciousness shattered. Ryan dropped the basin, clapping his hands, smiling at Raven. Raven, I'll never be bullied again. Raven looked at the seemingly lifeless Marcus, frowning slightly before cold indifference took over. She patted the man's hand. Good boy. Then to everyone, by my order, throw him in the water dungeon. Any more mistakes, and you'll face punishment. In the water dungeon, iron shackles locked Marcus again. Sewage soaked his festering wounds, bringing fresh hell. With poison unresolved and wounds multiplying, Marcus's heart had died. After endless time, Marcus was dragged from the water dungeon. In his blurred consciousness, a filthy, blood-stained bundle thudded beside his face. Look what this is. Ryan's voice returned. Marcus used all his strength to open blood-crusted eyes. The bundle's corner revealed a scarred pinky finger. Chapter 8. It was Grandfather's finger. No. Marcus's tears burst forth. He lunged frantically for the bundle but was pinned by guards' boots on his spine. Grandfather. Grandfather. His eyes blazed red, all blood rushing to his head. Raven. Ryan. Curse you both. I'll haunt you even as a ghost. He raved madly. So noisy. Raven's voice carried extreme impatience. Animal. What did you do to my grandfather? Raven. You bastard. You promised me. You. Raven crouched, picking up the severed finger, waving it before Marcus. The old man, stubborn, won't reveal the Chen family's secret medicine formula. Made Ryan unhappy. This is a greeting gift. And yes, it's real. She grabbed the finger and shoved it into Marcus's screaming mouth. MMPH. Heavy blood and rot instantly filled his mouth. Marcus's stomach churned, violent dry heaves following. How's it taste? The woman was eerily calm. Want to see him whole? Then speak for your grandfather. Otherwise, next time won't just be fingers. Maybe, a head left after feeding to wolves. Kill me, just kill me. Marcus spoke around the finger, each word bloody. Because of him, his only family was being tortured by Ryan and Raven. He hated. He hated so much. The hatred in Marcus's eyes ran too deep. Raven involuntarily pulled the finger from his mouth. Then holding Ryan's hand, she looked down at Marcus. Seems you still haven't learned. Raven, Ryan's voice carried false reluctance. Mark like this, so scary. Does he really hate us? Raven's eyes hardened, losing final patience. Since he's obstinate, keeping him is trouble. Marcus, I'll give you a quick death and leave your grandfather a whole corpse. Raven, I said the traitor is Ryan. Marcus laughed coldly. Know why this finger has scars? 5 years ago, grandfather fell off a cliff getting medicine for you. You have no conscience, truly no conscience. Raven flashed a memory, but Ryan interrupted. Raven, why does he keep calling me a traitor? I'm really not, believe me. The woman instantly refocused, frowning. Still not talking. Still blaming Ryan. Her patience exhausted. Fine. I'll show you whether I have conscience. Someone. Drag him to the execution ground, summon everyone for public execution. Let everyone see the fate of betraying me. Marcus was dragged like a dead dog. Wounds scraped the ground, new over old, but he felt no pain. Heart dead, body numb. At the execution ground, Marcus was chained to the execution post. Below stood all organization members with complex gazes, contempt, sighs, but mostly indifference. Raven embraced Ryan on the high platform's main seat. Derek stood in a corner, fists clenched tight. Traitor Marcus Chen. Raven's confidant loudly read the charges. Colluded with the Northern Syndicate, leaked secrets, attempted to harm Boss and Mr. Mitchell. Evidence conclusive, by rules death penalty. Execute him. Traitors deserve death. Curses and abuse rained on the chained figure. Marcus closed his eyes, lips twisting into a distorted smile. Look, this was the organization he'd given everything for, the woman he'd deeply loved. Using his blood and flesh to achieve her, justice, and Ryan's security. He, Marcus Chen, was a complete joke from start to finish. Raven's face was expressionless as she waved. The executioner approached with a tray holding a cup of crimson poison. Instant death upon drinking, horrible to witness. This was the cruelest punishment for traitors. Force it down. Raven's voice held no emotion. The executioner pried open Marcus's jaw, roughly pouring the poison in. The burning liquid entered his throat. Marcus didn't struggle. He looked one last time at the blurred figure on the platform, eyes dead ash. Raven, if there's a next life, may I never meet you. Poison entered his stomach, blood instantly gushing from nose and mouth. As consciousness faded, he saw Ryan's victorious smile, lips silently mouthing, the old man, already fed to wolves. Grandfather. Marcus's pupils contracted sharply, using his last strength to glare at Ryan. Then his head dropped heavily, no more sound. The execution ground fell deathly silent. Cold wind swept through, stirring his blood-stained clothes. Looking at the lifeless body, Raven's heart inexplicably clenched, an indescribable emptiness seizing her. In the corner, Derek stared fixedly at the poisoned cup, palms sweating cold. Inside was the fake death drug he'd desperately switched. Mark, hold on, survive. Chapter 9. Raven's expression was dazed. Ryan leaned over, gently embracing her. She held Ryan tight, coldly sweeping over Marcus. Throw him in the back mountain for burial. Then gently, Ryan, the eyesore is gone. No one can hurt you anymore. Ryan pretended joy while hiding the venom in his eyes. A week later, the main hall blazed with lights celebrating the traitor's elimination. Ryan wore a new watch, smiling like a satisfied cat. Boss is mighty. Mr. Mitchell is the true destiny. That traitor died well. Mr. Mitchell, you must have been frightened. Raven raised her glass triumphantly. But the alcohol tasted inexplicably bland. Her gaze swept the corner where Marcus used to stand, now empty. Despite her amnesia, she knew he'd organized things well. Too bad he was a traitor. Irritation surged. Raven? Ryan keenly noticed her distraction, his strong hand covering hers. What are you thinking? Tired? He showed off his watch. Look, does this watch look good on me? Something festive. Raven looked at the watch, Marcus lunging for it flashing through her mind. Her heart suddenly stung. She frowned unconsciously. Take it off. It doesn't look good. Ryan's smile froze momentarily before pressing closer. Okay, whatever you say. As long as you're happy, I'll do anything. He changed topics, using coaxing to warm the chill in her heart. Days later, Raven worked in her study. After Marcus's death, Derek had mysteriously disappeared too. Many matters they'd handled became chaotic. She rubbed her temples irritably when subordinate Alice entered hesitantly. Boss, something's strange. Alice's voice was low, eyes flickering. Derek, before disappearing, seemed to be investigating Mr. Mitchell. Raven's gaze sharpened instantly. Investigating what? Just before the Northern Syndicate attacked the torture chamber, Derek privately mobilized some outer members, asking if they'd seen strangers near the safe house recently. Also asked about Mr. Mitchell's whereabouts during that time. Nonsense. Raven slammed the desk. Derek's followed me for years. Him investigating Ryan? Evidence? Alice broke into cold sweat. No concrete evidence, just word from the guys, and Derek hasn't been seen for 2 days. Just then, the study door opened. Ryan entered with herbal soup. Raven, why so angry? Alice, did you upset her again? He set down the bowl, moving behind Raven to massage her shoulders. Raven's anger subsided mostly, though she still spoke gravely. Alice says Derek was investigating you before disappearing. Ryan's hands paused almost imperceptibly before his body trembled. Investigating me? Why would he investigate me? Marcus is dead, Derek was saved by him. He hates me, wants to frame me, right? Was he bought by the Northern Syndicate, deliberately disappearing to cause chaos and divide us? He looked shocked. Such deep scheming, am I next? Seeing Ryan's pale face, Raven's doubt instantly became protectiveness. She embraced Ryan, berating Alice, get out. Dare spread rumors again and I'll cut out your tongue. Derek? Find him. Dead or alive. When found, treat him as a traitor. She selectively forgot Derek's years of loyalty, only remembering him speaking for Marcus at the end. Ryan smiled in her arms. Late at night, Raven woke from nightmares. In the dream, Marcus was covered in blood, glaring at her, silently asking, why didn't you believe me? While Ryan laughed eerily beside him. She sat up abruptly, drenched in cold sweat. Ryan was gone from beside her. Raven felt unsettled, compelled to rise and head to the study. She wanted to look through Marcus's last handled documents, as if trying to grasp something. Just outside the study in the small hall, she glimpsed weak firelight from the storage room. Her heart tightened. She approached silently. Through the cracked door, she saw Ryan's bathrobe-clad back. He crouched before an iron basin, burning papers one by one. Raven's pupils contracted. About to burst in demanding answers, Ryan seemed done with the last page, quickly stamping out the sparks. Just then, Ryan seemed to sense something, whipping around. Seeing Raven at the door, color drained from his face. R.A. Raven? Why are you awake? Raven stared at him, expression unreadable. What were you burning? Ryan's tears came instantly, embracing her. I dreamed Mark covered in blood coming for me. I was so scared. I remembered my hometown's custom of burning paper money to appease spirits. Sorry, Raven, I shouldn't believe this stuff or scare you at midnight. He trembled, crying genuinely. Raven stood rigid in his arms. The ashes in the basin were cold, but the person holding her was warm. Derek's disappearance, Alice's report, the ashes, Marcus's accusations. Countless fragments crashed in her mind, head splitting with pain. She looked down at Ryan's red eyes, the question stuck in her throat. Finally, she just hugged him back, it's fine. Let's go back to sleep. But the seed of doubt had quietly taken root in her heart. Chapter 10. The next day, Raven pressed her temples, handling organization business. Last night's nightmare kept replaying. She unconsciously walked to the small room in the villa's west corner. Subordinates said this was where Marcus personally treated wounded and prepared medicine. Opening the door, a faint but familiar herbal scent wafted out. Chaotic memory fragments collided. The blood and herb-scented room in that small town. His focused hands preparing medicine. Raven froze at the door, heart nearly stopping. Raven? Ryan's voice precisely pierced this brief haze. He'd followed, intimately holding her arm. Why come to this dirty place? Such a strange smell, disgusting. Strong cologne overpowered the faint herbal scent, dispersing the confusion in Raven's eyes. She frowned, not looking at the room again. Lock it. No one enters. Ryan thoughtfully watched the woman's retreating back. That afternoon, Raven taught Ryan shooting at the private range. Sunlight glared. Ryan held the gun she'd given him, stance awkward. He suddenly turned his head, mimicking a certain cold, focused demeanor. Raven, holding the gun like this, do I look a bit like him? Don't copy him. The taut string in Raven's mind snapped. Almost reflexively, she shoved Ryan hard, sending him sprawling. Ryan cried out, the gun falling in the sand. Raven? Ryan clutched his scraped elbow, looking at her with shock and grievance. Raven froze too, chest heavy and stuffy. For that instant, what flashed before her was clearly Marcus. His forced calm but pale face. When first made to hold a gun, his ruthlessly focused expression when later practicing. She irritably wiped her face, not looking at Ryan on the ground. Go bandage yourself. She turned and strode away, her back showing unnoticed panic. Ryan's brow raised slightly with a cold smile. Late at night, the villa was deathly quiet. Raven sat alone in the study, ashtray full of cigarette butts. Compelled by something, she pulled open the bottom drawer of her desk. Inside lay a notebook, Marcus's treatment records from the small town. Her fingertips trembled imperceptibly as she opened the yellowed pages. Neat handwriting recorded every near-death crisis, every herb dosage, every temperature fluctuation. On one page, 3 words were clearly marked in red pen: lover's tears. Lover's tears. Raven unconsciously spoke aloud. Boom. The 3 words struck like lightning, splitting open chaotic memories. Steep cliffs, Marcus alone gathering herbs, surrounded by wolves. She fought her way in blood-soaked, holding him tight, his cold, trembling body, and the blood-stained bundle he desperately protected containing that herb. That was it. He'd said. Trembling, Raven, this herb is called lover's tears. As healers, grandfather, and I won't give up on you. Sharp, intense pain suddenly shot through her heart. Raven clutched her chest, face pale. No. A sharp sound tore through the silence. A throwing knife wrapped in wind shattered the window, embedding viciously in Raven's mahogany desk. The blade vibrated, its cloth strip pinned to the surface with bone-deep hatred written on it. Raven, how does being blind feel? Marcus's blood debt will be repaid in blood. Wait. Each word wept blood, like vengeful ghosts. Demanding payment. Raven whirled around. Who? Stop playing tricks. Come out. Chapter 11. Raven chased out of the study, but outside were only wind-blown leaves. Deathly silence. Raven remembered the recording device only she and Marcus knew about in the main house. Her fingers swiped through encrypted audio files. After static, Ryan's voice emerged. Clean it up. Must find Derek and silence him before the organization. Raven? Huh, her mind's full of me now, stupid fool. The organization's secrets are in my hands, why rush? Then a muffled male response, understood, Ryan, the Northern Syndicate. Ryan? Northern Syndicate? Ryan had connections with the Northern Syndicate? Raven's fists clenched tight, knuckles cracking ominously. She turned and rushed to the surveillance room. Pull it up. All perimeter surveillance. Frame by frame. She kicked open the surveillance room door, voice hoarse. The huge screen split into dozens of small frames. Subordinates fast-forwarded nervously. Suddenly, Raven's pupils contracted. Stop. Rewind. West Data Room hallway, camera 3. The image froze at 1:17 a.m. A slender figure appeared ghost-like outside the data room. Ryan again. He didn't even look at the lock, pressing a hidden groove above the door frame. The door slid open silently. Not his first time. Raven's fists clenched death-tight. The scene switched inside. In infrared mode, Ryan moved between file shelves without hesitation. The entire process took less than 10 seconds. Raven's blood instantly rushed to her head. But she didn't immediately confront Ryan. Instead, she went to the torture chamber. The beaten Northern Syndicate prisoner was splashed awake with cold water. Raven's boot pressed his chest with bone-crushing force. Talk. Her voice dripped ice. Who tipped off the Northern Syndicate? The torture chamber location, water dungeon guard shifts. Who told you? The prisoner spat blood, eyes unfocused. Don't know, orders, direct orders from above. Raven's eyes hardened. She took the branding iron from her subordinate. Don't know. She laughed coldly, pressing the iron to the prisoner's shoulder. The stench of burning flesh spread instantly. Screams tore through the air. Ah. I'll talk. I'll talk. The prisoner broke. There's always been an insider in the organization, codename you. Raven's mind went blank. Really, Ryan? Just then, the prisoner suddenly convulsed violently, eyes bulging, black blood pouring from nose and mouth. Instantly dead, death bizarre. Poisoned, subordinates exclaimed. Raven's face turned ashen. Silenced. Right under her nose. She strode into Ryan's room. Ignoring his just-showered surprise, she headed straight for the suitcase he'd brought when joining. Raven? What are you doing? Ryan panicked, trying to stop her. Get away. Raven swept her arm. Ryan stumbled back. She crouched, yanking it open. In the inner layer were the organization's latest confidential files. Raven's eyes turned icy. Her gaze locked on the bottom layer. Box opened. On the mesh lining lay a dagger. Ancient design, emanating cold darkness. Most striking was the fierce dragon head carved in steel at the hilt. This dragon pattern. Clearly the Northern Syndicate leader's generational token. But the Northern Syndicate's leader was clearly that old man. Raven's breathing seemed to stop. She looked up sharply at Ryan's pale face. His bathrobe had fallen open from falling, revealing an uncovered dragon head tattoo. And the Northern Syndicate's secret internal mark was precisely the dragon head. All deliberately guided suspicions now converged before this dragon pattern dagger and tattoo into thunderous revelation. Raven's fingers stiffened, death gripping the dragon pattern dagger. She turned extremely slowly, gaze nailing Ryan's innocent face. Her throat produced hoarse words. Northern Syndicate, leader. Ryan recovered, dropping all pretense. He snorted. Yes. Me. Chapter 12. Ryan stood, slowly approaching the woman. Raven, know why it had to be you? He raised his head sharply, eyes burning with hatred. 10 years ago, your father Jonathan Cross set a trap to kill my father for that Southeast Asian smuggling route. The Northern Syndicate changed hands overnight, blood flowing like rivers. I changed my identity just to make you, the Cross family's only heir, fall desperately in love with me. Ryan paused, touching the woman's shoulder. Then personally grind everything you own, along with the Cross family, to dust. Raven's blood instantly froze. She stared at Ryan. The treasure she'd cherished was actually her enemy's son. As for that fool Marcus? Ryan laughed contemptuously. Daring to block my path? He handled those dirty deeds for the Cross family quite capably. If he didn't die, my carefully laid plans would be ruined. His eyes turned vicious. Perfect, using your sharpest blade to remove this thorn. Watching you personally torture him to living death, breaking his bones one by one. Huh, Raven, how did that feel? Marcus's pale face reappeared before her eyes. Countless images tore through Raven's mind. She stepped back sharply. Get out. She growled low. Drag him, to the water dungeon. Without my order, anyone who goes near dies. Guards immediately stepped forward. Ryan's curses and mad laughter echoed in the air. Raven. You're blind. You deserve it. That unlucky Marcus is waiting for you in hell. That crazed voice clung like bone maggots, wrapping around Raven. She collapsed into the leather chair, the door shutting out the world. Her head felt ready to explode, countless chaotic fragments crashing in her mind. Ryan's venomous face, Marcus's empty, desperate eyes. Her gaze unconsciously swept the desk, that notebook suddenly capturing her attention. With trembling fingers, Raven reopened that notebook. Lightning flashed outside, thunder seemingly splitting directly into her skull. Everything from memory's depths suddenly flooded back. Cliffs, rain lashing her face, dark abyss below. Wolf howls, beast eyes glowing in darkness, death's breath approaching. Trembling, that body in her arms shaking uncontrollably yet desperately protecting a blood-stained bundle. Voice, his choked words hitting her. Eardrums, Raven, hold on. The image suddenly crystallized that extraordinarily determined face in her arms. Was Marcus. Ah. Raven's temples pounded wildly, severe pain exploding from deep in her brain. Heart pain made her instantly hunch over, unable to breathe. She crashed from the chair with a bang, heavily kneeling on the cold, hard floor. She stared at those 3 words, broken sobs escaping her throat. Mark. Heart crushed, pain beyond breathing. She'd personally pushed her light into hell for a liar. Bang. Priceless vases exploded. Under Raven's fist like her exploding mind. Marcus. Mark. She roared, red-eyed, rampaging through the deathly quiet main house. It was him. Her man had always been him. Always Marcus. Fists smashed into mirrors, glass shards mixed with blood flying. The twisted reflection showed her whipping him, feeding him severed fingers, forcing poison down his throat, the beast she'd become. I was blind. I'm a fucking animal. She beat her head frantically, regret eating through bone and heart. He took bullets for her, sold his life for her, yet she ground him to dust for a snake. She stumbled to where Marcus had knelt on the nail board. The air seemed to still carry his agonized screams and blood scent. Mark. Raven's fist smashed the stone ground, broken knuckles hurting less than 1/10,000th of her heart. She remembered his final look, dead ash. I was wrong. I was so wrong. The woman curled on the ground, nails digging deep into stone cracks, blood flowing freely. Too late, everything too late. Her Mark had been tortured to death by her own hands. Moonlight illuminated her red eyes and bloodied hands, leaving only endless purgatory-like regret. At the back mountain grave, night wind wailed like ghosts crying. Raven's 10 fingers were bloody, frantically digging at the mound of yellow earth. She didn't believe it. Mark wasn't dead. He was too stubborn. How could he die? Mark. Mark, don't be afraid. I'll take you back. Mud mixed with tears covered her face, nails splitting without feeling pain. Fingertips hit something hard. Raven's whole body shook as she lunged forward, desperately clearing the last soil layer. Moonlight illuminated not a coffin but a rotting, stinking wild dog corpse. Raven froze, bloody hands suspended midair. Only her gasps and heartbeat remained on the dead mountain. Not him. Not Marcus. Huge shock and wild joy instantly exploded. She raised her head sharply, crimson eyes bursting with terrifying light. Derek, he must have saved Mark. Chapter 13. Right, and Marcus's grandfather. Maybe Derek saved Marcus and went to grandfather. Realizing this, Raven immediately rushed to Marcus's home. Grandfather. Open up. Raven's fist pounded on the old wooden door, voice hoarse. Inside was dead silence, only her heavy breathing. Huge panic seized her, colder than a dozen guns pointed at her. Break it down, she growled at Alice behind her. The door crashed inward. The house was eerily empty, clearly uninhabited for a long time. Where is he? Raven whirled around, glaring at Alice. I asked where he is. After cutting off the finger, didn't you say he was sent home? Alice's calves trembled. B-boss. Absolutely true. After cutting, we had him sent back. I watched the car enter the alley. Where could an old man go? Her voice grew smaller, cold sweat soaking her back. Raven's head split with pain. How could she make amends to Marcus after doing such inhuman things? She shook her head, suddenly thinking of Ryan. Who else but that venomous man? Find them. Ravens. Voice exploded in the room. Dig 3 feet deep if needed. Find Marcus, his grandfather, and Derek. Whoever finds them gets half my position. Can't find them. She swept her gaze over the terrified subordinates, leaving the rest to killing intent. Cross-organization torture chamber. Ryan was chained to the rack, dark red blood covering his body. Raven sat across from him, leisurely playing with a whip. One more time, Raven's voice was terrifyingly calm. Where's the old man? Ryan spat blood, laughing venomously. Dead. Fed. To wolves. Raven, you deserve this. Ha ha ha. Crack. Raven stood sharply, whip viciously lashing his face. Ryan's mad laughter cut short, becoming an agonized scream. Seems Ryan forgot the rules here. Raven bent down, gripping his chin. A subordinate timely presented Ryan's watch. Raven forcibly shoved it into Ryan's mouth. MMPH, ugh. Ryan violently gagged. The cold metal taste of the chain choked him. Swallow it. Raven whispered. Don't you like it? Didn't you want to wear it for luck? Ryan shook his head desperately struggling, chains clanking uselessly. Raven's eyes hardened. Subordinates immediately brought highly concentrated salt water. Wake his brain. Salt water poured down. Ah. Screams instantly tore through the torture chamber's silence. Salt water mercilessly soaked Ryan's fresh wounds. His body convulsed frantically in the chains. Raven watched expressionlessly, crimson satisfaction and deeper pain churning in her eyes. These screams how similar to Marcus's. She waved. Subordinates immediately brought a board covered in sharp iron nails. Let him taste it too. Raven's voice held no emotion. 2 strong men stepped forward. Despite Ryan's heart-rending wails, they roughly pressed his knees to the nail board. Iron nails instantly pierced flesh, deep to bone. Oh, Raven. Curse you. Ryan convulsed violently on the nail board, blood flowing freely. Raven walked to him, crouching down, holding his face. How's it taste? Raven's voice was soft but colder. Using me feel good? She took the glass bottle from her subordinate. Ryan, time for medicine. Raven pried open his mouth. Don't worry, this won't kill you. Just make you, remember. Today more clearly. Fear finally exploded in Ryan's eyes as he desperately tried avoiding the liquid. But Raven's fingers were like iron clamps, unmovable. Just as it was about to pour down Ryan's throat. Chapter 14. Bang. The torture chamber's bulletproof glass wall shattered, cracks instantly covering the entire surface. Gunfire. Dense gunfire erupted without warning from outside the broken window. Boss, we're under attack. Guards' voices instantly drowned in gunfire. Raven yanked Ryan as a shield, lightning fast drawing her gun toward the glass breach. Find cover. Hold the line. She roared, eyes locked on the smoke-filled area. Bang. 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 The torture chamber filled with smoke, screams and gunfire mixing chaotically. Northern Syndicate attackers charged in like mad dogs while cross-organization desperately blocked them. Just as both sides saw red. Woo woo woo. Piercing sirens approached, stern warnings blasting through megaphones. Police. Drop your weapons. Hands where I can see them. Now. Several spotlights pierced windows, illuminating the bloody battlefield. Raven's pupils contracted sharply. Damn. Cops. Northern Syndicate panicked. Boss? Cross-subordinates were confused, instinctively looking at Raven. Drop your guns. Final warning. Dense footsteps outside clearly surrounded. Raven's face turned ashen. Shit. She cursed low, first to slam her gun down. Everyone dropped them. Cross-organization immediately complied with a clatter. Northern remnants seeing the situation also reluctantly threw down weapons. Doors burst open. Fully armed police poured in, black gun barrels controlling the scene. Raven was cuffed with hands behind her back, the metal stimulating her nerves. In the chaos, she incredibly saw the long-missing Derek. Derek? Raven turned sharply, looking at him in disbelief. Derek pressed close to Raven, speaking rapidly like knife strikes. Raven, listen. Mark and the old man were safely taken by Ms. Tao's people. Ms. Tao asked me to tell you. Derek's eyes burst with satisfaction, voice piercing Raven's heart. The blood debt you owe Marcus, Ms. Tao will collect 100-fold. What? Raven's whole body shook. Marcus had returned to America. And Ms. Tao Tessa Tao? The business empire Tao family? She instinctively tried grabbing Derek for clarity. But Derek moved faster, stepping back sharply toward the lead officer. Officer. Mission complete, requesting withdrawal. The officer nodded, signaling protection for Derek's exit. Derek. Stop right there. Explain clearly. Where's Marcus? Raven struggled frantically, eyes crimson, trying to lunge at Derek. Only one thought filled her mind, Marcus wasn't dead, taken by Tessa Tao. Bang. An officer decisively struck Raven's neck with his gun butt. Raven grunted, forcing herself not to fall, glaring at Derek's back. Just as Derek was about to disappear through the door, huge helicopter rotors thundered above. The cabin door opened, dropping a rope ladder. A lithe, upright figure stood backlit, face unclear, only emanating invisible pressure. The woman's figure was graceful yet inviolable. Just standing there, she seemed to control everything below. She nodded slightly at Derek. Derek didn't hesitate, grabbing the ladder and climbing swiftly. Raven's neck veins bulged, glaring at the blurred figure. Derek reached the cabin door, looking back one last time. Enjoy your final glory. Ms. Tao's game has just begun. Marks. Debt your life can't repay it. The cabin door closed. The black helicopter rapidly ascended, disappearing quickly. Night had deepened, but Raven saw clearly those hate-filled eyes. Domestically, New York. Disinfectant stench. Marcus's eyes snapped open. Residual pain reminded him he was alive. Mark. You're finally awake. Derek leaned over, eyes red. Thank God, the fake death drug worked. We're in America, safe. Marcus's throat worked, voice hoarse. Grandfather. Derek, where's grandfather? He struggled to rise, pulling wounds that blackened his vision with pain. The old man's fine. Really fine. Derek quickly pressed him down. Ms. Tao's people rescued him from the Northern Syndicate first thing. He's resting next door, a bit shocked but fine. He lowered his voice. Raven, thought you were dead, threw you on the back mountain. I dug you out. Ms. Tao's private jet, emergency treatment all the way back. At Raven's mention, Marcus's body trembled involuntarily. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. When he opened them again, only dead hatred remained. Thank you, Derek. But Tessa Tao is my childhood friend. How do you know her? Derek smiled slightly. Actually, I was planted by Ms. Tao beside Raven. The specifics, better let Ms. Tao tell you. Marcus blinked. Phone. Derek immediately handed over a new phone. Marcus dialed that memorized number with unusual determination. Tessa Tao. I'm back. Chapter 15. The hospital room door slid open silently. Tessa Tao entered, putting away her phone. The woman's beautiful face was covered in frost. Marcus's paper-pale complexion made her face instantly darken before being forcibly suppressed. She walked to the bedside in a few steps, directly but carefully lifting the gauze on Marcus's chest to check. Poisons neutralized. External injuries need time. Her voice was low, but her fingertips trembled almost imperceptibly. Raven Cross. Marcus spat out the name with bone-deep pain and hatred. For her white moonlight, Ryan. Tessa's eyes held ice-cold insight. Ryan? The Northern Syndicate's boss you? Her lips curved mockingly. When Raven trampled you underfoot as a substitute, did she know her treasured Ryan was the real mole lurking beside her, determined to destroy the Cross family? Heh. Marcus laughed lowly, but tears flowed involuntarily. Raven, you're so blind. Blind as you deserve. Seeing him like this, Tessa's heart felt crushed. She bent down, gently holding his hand with extreme care. Marcus, look at me. She forced eye contact. Bleeding and crying for that blind animal isn't worth it. She doesn't deserve a shred of your heartache. Marcus bit his lower lip hard. She doesn't deserve it. Tessa's eyes suddenly revealed killing intent, but the blood debt she owes you must be paid in blood. And her voice deepened with fateful hatred. She owes my Tao family 2 lives, a blood vendetta. Marcus froze. Tessa pulled photos from her crocodile leather bag's inner pocket, showing him. The photos showed a chaotic, bloody dock with mercenaries firing wildly. The young woman fighting bloodily in the center was clearly Tessa. And the woman leading with an assault rifle, spraying bullets even in profile, Marcus would never mistake her. Raven Cross. Years ago, the Tao family's enemies hired assassins for my life. Tessa narrated calmly, only her tightly pressed lips revealing hatred. She led the team. I barely escaped, but my companions, 2 died. Her fingertips lightly touched the photo. Marcus's pupils contracted sharply, unable to breathe from pain. So during his oblivious years, Raven's hands were stained with the blood of Tessa's people. Marcus felt struck by lightning. But bigger shocks awaited. Someone knocked and entered. Tessa took an old newspaper from her subordinate, hesitating briefly. Look at this. The front page headline was shocking. Chinese-American couple dies in Italian town car accident. The report was vague, attributing it to accident. But attached intelligence summaries from Tessa's people were marked in red. Brake system showed clear sabotage. Suspected connection to local gangs fighting for underground pharmaceutical market. Raven Cross was employed by said gang to eliminate rival forces. Your parents were targeted then. The whole family fled overseas but were still retaliated against by enemies, and those enemies employed Raven Cross. Tessa watched Marcus, frowning as she finished. Bang! The newspaper in Marcus's hand slammed to the ground. He suddenly sat up and got out of bed, body trembling violently, vision blackening repeatedly. Animal. Broken hisses escaped his throat. Then grabbing the old newspaper, tearing viciously. Tessa silently stood beside him, wordlessly supporting. She didn't speak, only transmitting strength through her palm. Marcus suddenly withdrew his hand, turning to embrace the girl before him. Long-suppressed grief finally burst. Tessa's body stiffened momentarily before reverently embracing him. She lowered her head, her low voice carrying weight. Marcus, look at me. I'll personally send her to hell's deepest level. Marcus's body was ice cold. He looked up at the woman. Massive betrayal and overwhelming hatred instantly drowned him. He'd given everything for Raven, betrayed his homeland, willingly became her shadow in darkness. And she was his parents' direct killer, nearly killed Tessa too. PFT rage attacking his heart, Marcus violently coughed up dark red blood, shocking to see. Marcus. Tessa and Derek's faces changed drastically. Just then, intense commotion and fighting sounds came from the hospital corridor. Chapter 16. The hospital room door exploded. Raven Cross, escaped from Italian police custody, blocked the doorway. Her gun barrel locked dead on Tessa's forehead, but her eyes swept past to the blood-coughing Marcus, burning with anxiety. My man, she gritted out with desperate ferocity, isn't yours to hide. Tessa instantly shielded Marcus behind her. A wanted fugitive talking about yours? Get out. Cough, cough, cough. Marcus raised his pale face, looking at Raven with only hatred and mockery. Boss Cross gracing us with her presence, what new game now? Skinning me alive to avenge your precious Ryan? Mark. Raven's heart was pierced by that look, crying out in pain. She lunged forward like mad, grabbing his arm, forcibly dragging the man away. Let him go. Tessa fearlessly faced her gun, immediately stepping forward. Raven turned sharply, eyes nearly splitting. As I recall, civilians can't carry guns here, right? Ms. Tao better stay put. Tessa. Don't move. I'll be right back. Marcus looked at Tessa calmly. Trust me. Years of life and death situations, this wasn't enough to scare him. But he knew Raven too well. He couldn't let her hurt more innocent people. Tessa looked at him anxiously but had to relent at his nod. Raven frowned at their silent understanding. She grabbed the man's arm, shoving past blocking bodyguards. Come with me, this time, I'll give my life, to repay you. Screeching tires tore through the hospital's silence. A beaten Jeep Snake drove crazily through streets, throwing off pursuing Tao family cars. Marcus was roughly shoved in the passenger seat, seatbelt pressing painfully on his wounds. Raven controlled the wheel. One-handed, the other death gripping his wrist. Let go, animal. Marcus used all his strength trying to break her fingers, nails digging deep into her hand wounds. Raven grunted but gripped tighter. She turned her head, eyes churning with near-breakdown obsession. Mark. Ryan was the Northern Syndicate's mole. He used me. I forgot you, was blind. I was wrong, really wrong. Now I remember. I tortured Ryan too. If you want him dead, I'll also. Now you know you're wrong. Before she finished. Marcus stopped struggling. Too late. Raven Cross, my parents' lives, my grandfather's finger, the heart you personally carved out to feed dogs. Fill them with your life? Is your rotten life worth it? Raven was blocked by his words. Momentarily distracted, she didn't notice the red light ahead. A heavy truck was crossing laterally. Raven's pupils contracted. She slammed the brakes. Marcus's eyes flashed viciously. Using all his remaining strength, he lunged at the steering wheel, yanking it hard right. Raven's angry roar was completely swallowed by the massive collision. Boom. The out-of-control Jeep smashed through the roadside barrier, rolling down the steep slope. Heaven and earth spun. One final crash, the car landed wheels up, stuck at the cliff's edge. Below, waves crashing on rocks roared clearly. Strong gasoline smell permeated the deathly air. Marcus's lower body was trapped by the deformed car, pain blackening his vision. Raven, head bleeding, struggled from the crushed driver's compartment. She didn't check her own injuries, stumbling to the passenger side, bare hands tearing at the deformed door. Mark, hold on. I'll get you out. She roared, fingers sliced bloody by sharp metal edges. The door finally opened a crack. Raven desperately reached in to drag him out but suddenly froze. A cold gun barrel pressed steadily against her forehead. Marcus had somehow gotten her dropped gun. His face was covered in blood and ash, but his eyes burned frighteningly bright. Don't touch me. His voice was hoarse. Raven Cross, we're even. Your life. I don't want any more. Cliff wind whipped up sand, wailing like ghosts. Piercing sirens approached. Police megaphones echoed, people ahead, listen. Drop your weapons immediately. Hands on heads. You're surrounded. In the chaotic lights, Tessa's figure appeared at the police front. She stared at them both, worry and anger clear in her eyes. Raven was deaf to the approaching siege. She only saw the dead ash in Marcus's eyes. Boundless regret and despair finally drowned her completely. She smiled bitterly, blood-stained hand slowly gripping Marcus's hand on the trigger, pressing hard against her forehead. Fine. Her voice was light as a sigh. You don't want it. Then, pull it for me. Mark, next life, stay away from me. Marcus's finger trembled violently on the trigger, storms churning in his eyes. I hate you. Just as he spoke, consciousness instantly sank to darkness. His body, unrecovered and severely injured again, had no strength left. Mark. Marcus. Raven and Tessa's cries rang out simultaneously. Raven looked at the unconscious Marcus, then at the approaching Tessa, only madness and resolution left in her eyes. The moment Tessa reached the car, she dragged Marcus and jumped toward the raging waves. Raven Cross. Chapter 17. Tessa's scream was instantly torn apart by sea wind. 3 days and nights shattered Tessa's last hope. Search boats combed every undercurrent below the cliff, no trace of Raven or Marcus. Dead or alive, I want to see them. Tessa punched the boat rail, knuckles bleeding. Police expanded the search, still nothing. Raven and Marcus seemed completely swallowed by the ocean. But at a remote fishing village coast dozens of miles from the jump point, Raven violently coughed up salty seawater. Her first reaction was to death grip the cold person in her arms. Mark. Mark. Her voice was hoarse, hands shaking as she checked his breathing. Weak, but present. Wild joy and severe pain tore at her. She desperately carried Marcus on her back, crashing through the nearest fisherman's door, gun aimed at the terrified villager. Save him. Medicine. Hot water. No tricks. The fisherman fearfully produced local medicine and hot water. Raven tore open Marcus's soaked clothes, various injuries exposed under dim oil lamplight. She almost couldn't breathe. These were all her handiwork. She clumsily, frantically applied medicine and bandages, constantly muttering, "Hold on. Mark. Please." After unknown time, Marcus opened his eyes. Vision blurrily focused on Raven's blood-stained, wildly joyful face. "Mark. You're awake." Raven wanted to hug him. Marcus's eyes instantly turned icy. Finding strength somewhere, he yanked out Raven's backup knife from her waist. Thud. The knife plunged deep into Raven's shoulder. Ugh. Raven grunted, looking at him in disbelief. Marcus panted, eyes calm. "This knife repays the bullet I took for you." He pulled out the knife, blood splashing her pale face. "Don't appear before me again. Otherwise, next time I'll stab your heart." He pushed her away, staggering from bed, leaving without looking back. Raven clutched her wound, blood pouring through fingers, massive emptiness drowning her. Even? No. What she owed him could never be repaid this lifetime. The fisherman had secretly called police. During their conversation, police had already surrounded them. Marcus boarded the boat under Tessa's protection. Sea wind lifted her thin clothes, back silhouette desolate. "Mark." A roar pierced the wind. Raven broke through the dock police line like a wounded beast, charging over. Bloodied all over, shoulder still bleeding, she dropped straight to her knees before Marcus with a thud. "I was wrong. Mark. I was blind. I'm trash." Her voice broke with sobs, forehead hitting the cold wet ground hard. "What I owe you, I'll pay with my life. Just please, give me one more chance. Just one." She reached for his pant leg. Surrounding police immediately stepped forward, black gun barrels aimed at her. Marcus looked down, eyes emotionless. "Your life?" He laughed mockingly. "Worth one of my grandfather's fingers?" "Raven Cross, listen carefully. The thing I regret most in this life was dragging a viper like you back from death's door in that Italian town." He kicked away her reaching hand. "Seeing you makes me sick. Get lost. Don't dirty my path." Police mercilessly hauled up Raven. She struggled frantically, desperately staring at Marcus. "Mark. I love you. I really love you." Her answer was only Marcus's cold boarding profile and the heavily closing cabin door. The cruise ship horn sounded, slowly departing. Chapter 18. The mess was handled by Tao family influence. Raven was transferred to Italian police. Marcus didn't want to hear a word about what followed. He lay in the hospital bed, body slowly healing under care, but heart remained ice cold and dead. Tessa entered with warm medicinal soup. "Drink some." She brought the bowl to his lips, brooking no refusal. Marcus turned his head, staring emptily at the ceiling. "Take it away. You want to starve yourself?" Tessa gripped his chin, not hard but with undeniable strength. "For that animal?" The word animal made Marcus flinch. He swept away her hand. The bowl crashed to the floor, soup splashing. "Don't touch me. Don't mention her." Tessa's eyes hardened. She leaned in close. "Marcus Chen. Look at me. I pulled you from hell. Where's Raven? She pushed you off a cliff. So what?" Marcus's tears flowed uncontrollably. "I was blind. I deserved it. Satisfied? Tessa, you saved me, I owe you my life, I'll repay. But my business, stay out of it." "Stay out?" Tessa laughed coldly, fingertips wiping his face. "The blood debt Raven owes you, I'll collect 100-fold. You just need to live well for me. I don't want your collection." Marcus struggled. "I just want her dead. I want to kill her myself." "With your current state?" Tessa scoffed, but her eyes were sharp as knives. "Can't even get out of bed, kill with what? With hands that only held scalpels and now can't even hold a cup steady?" Her words whipped him, shattering his last pretense. He collapsed, only suppressed sobs remaining. Tessa's eyes churned with emotion. She forcefully pulled him into her arms despite his beating. "Cry. When you're done, stand up for me." Her voice rang out with iron determination. "Your revenge, I'll help you get. Your life, I'll protect. From now on, Marcus Chin can only be my man." After discharge, Marcus moved into the luxury apartment Tessa arranged. He refused therapists, locking himself in the bedroom. Tessa, fearing he'd harm himself, gave him work under the guise of needing an assistant. Only facing computer screens did his eyes show brief life. Tessa canceled unnecessary social events, returning home punctually each night. At the dinner table. Atmosphere frozen. "This merger is too risky. The other party's background is dirty." Marcus pushed over documents, voice flat. Tessa didn't look at the documents, only at him. "I know. It's to draw out the snake, find the rats connected to cross-family remnants." Marcus's fingertips paused. He looked up. What do you need me to do? Take care of your health. Tessa served him food, tone brooking no argument. These dirty jobs don't need your involvement. Dirty jobs? Marcus put down his chopsticks, lips curving mockingly. Ms. Tao. Forgot? The dirty jobs I handled for Raven were more than you imagine. I'm already filthy through and through. Tessa grabbed his wrist. Marcus. Stop comparing yourself to her. You're different. How different? Marcus couldn't break free, so he met her gaze directly. All using, all calculating. You saved me because I'm still useful? Because this face can still help you against the Cross family? Listen. Tessa yanked him close, noses almost touching, eyes burning with pain. You think I, Tessa Tao, lack pawns? I want you whole and alive. She kissed him hard, punishingly, brooking no resistance. Marcus initially resisted stiffly but finally grabbed on like a drowning man clutching driftwood, desperately responding. This kiss had no tenderness, only two equally scarred hearts violently colliding. After the forced kiss, a strange balance formed between them. Marcus no longer resisted Tessa's closeness but remained silent and withdrawn. Chapter 19. As their relationship gradually warmed, the prison called Raven had cancer. Only 1 month left. She wanted to talk to Marcus. Thinking of their past, though he hated her, he still wanted proper closure. Italy, maximum security prison. Through cold bulletproof glass, Raven was escorted out by guards. In such short time, the once dominant woman's eyes were lifeless, only exploding with terrifying brightness upon seeing Marcus. Marcus picked up the phone, voice emotionless. What did you call me here to say? Raven pressed her forehead against the barrier, greedily tracing Marcus's outline. Tears pouring out. Mark, please forgive me. I don't have many days left. Please, give me a chance, let me stay with you, just a few days. Please. She suddenly turned, dropping heavily to her knees before the guard with a thud. Her forehead hit the cold concrete hard with sickening thuds. Officer. Please, have mercy. Let me out for a few days, let me be with him a few days. I really love him, I owe him too. Much, just want to see him a bit more at the end, please. She wept bitterly, crawling humbly, kowtowing repeatedly, forehead quickly swelling and bleeding. That mad humility made even hardened guards frown. The guard's gaze turned to Tessa, who'd been silently standing behind Marcus. Tessa remained calm, only looking at Marcus. Your choice. Marcus watched the woman who'd personally pushed him to hell, now humble as dust. Hatred still burned in his marrow, but seeing that face, mixed with exhausted emptiness surged up. Perhaps it really should end completely. He closed his eyes. When they opened again, cold, desolate indifference. He heard his own voice, fine. Just a few days. The Cross estate was sealed. They returned to Marcus's small clinic. Only stale mustiness remained in the air. Raven held a cup of warm water, trembling hands offering it to Marcus. Have some water, Mark. Marcus didn't take the cup, didn't even look at her. He lay down sideways, back to her, only coldly dropping, stay away from me. Raven's extended hand froze midair, hope in her eyes becoming pain and docility. She silently set down the cup, backing up several steps, but her gaze stubbornly clung to Marcus's back. She'd somehow found a stone and was using a dull metal piece to carve something with near religious focus. Marcus heard the sound and turned. Carving a little tiger, Raven didn't look up, hands never stopping, with almost reverent concentration. I was born in the year of the tiger. So later, don't forget me. She carved with extreme force, the metal piece cutting her fingers several times without notice. Marcus looked at the bloody crude stone carving. Heart suffocatingly painful. He turned away sharply, voice cold as iron, childish. Raven Cross, stop these useless tricks. You think carving some broken stone erases your sins? Raven's carving movement suddenly froze. The stone tiger form and dull metal piece clattered to the ground. She lowered her head, shoulders shaking violently, sobs mixed with coughs escaping from deep in her throat. Unable to bear it, she ran to the bathroom, vomiting continuously while crying. Finally curling up, hands death gripping her head, warm liquid seeping through fingers, blood or tears indistinguishable. Her slender body contracted into desperate ball. Chapter 20. Marcus looked away, pretending not to see. Raven cleaned up, pale-faced, acting like nothing happened, and started cooking. Lobster, beef stew with potatoes, corn rib soup. All set on the table, hands forcefully pulling Marcus over. Mark, these are all your favorites. Try them quick, see if they taste the same. Marcus instinctively stepped back, shaking her off. The impact knocked over the table, food spilling everywhere. His own back hit the cold medicine cabinet. The cabinet shook. A sharp knife for processing herbs slid down, landing right at his feet. Raven, covered in spilled food, had her gaze captured by that cold gleam. Marcus just bent to pick it up when Raven suddenly exploded. She crossed the short distance between them in one step, small hand gripping Marcus's wrist holding the knife handle. What are you doing? Marcus struggled in shock, the blade waving wildly in his hand. Raven didn't answer. She stared straight at Marcus, madness and resolution churning in her eyes. She grabbed his hand, forcing the blade toward her own spread left pinky. Raven Cross. Your CRA. Marcus's scream was swallowed the next instant. The blade fell viciously. Thud. The muffled sound of flesh and bone severing was sickeningly clear. A severed finger, with warm blood, rolled onto the dust-covered floor. Ugh. Raven's body swayed, face instantly paper white. Huge cold sweat rolled from her forehead, but she gritted her teeth, not letting out a single cry of pain. Only that hand with the severed finger trembled violently, blood gushing like an open dam, splashing Marcus's pale face. She raised her head, pulling a twisted smile, eyes locked on Marcus's horrified face. Mark, this piece repays our grandfathers. Blood flowed continuously from her severed finger, quickly pooling crimson on the floor. He stood frozen holding the knife midair, the tip still dripping her blood. The clinic fell deathly silent, only Raven's suppressed breathing and blood dripping softly. Marcus held the bloody knife, fingertips ice cold. Hatred surged, yet he was nailed in place by the obsession in her eyes. Lunatic. He spat out 2 words, body shaking from emotional impact. Raven's eyes burned frighteningly bright. Let's go, taking you somewhere. Without explanation, she forcefully shoved Marcus into the car, flooring the accelerator. Mountain roads bumped. Marcus's wounds throbbed painfully, vision blurring. Until familiar peak contours hit his eyes, the cliff where she'd fallen saving him years ago. Raven stopped the car. Wait for me. Mark, wait for me to come back. She looked at him deeply, then turned to climb the cliff, clearly aiming for lovers' tears in the rock crevices. Marcus wanted to shout, but his throat seemed blocked. Watching her frantically climb down, severed finger blood staining the rocks. Hate? Yes, he hated. But watching her disappear behind jagged rocks, strange panic seized him. Time ticked by. Twilight swallowed the last daylight. Mountain wind wailed. No movement from the cliff. Raven Cross. Marcus couldn't help roaring, voice echoing in the empty valley with only wind responding. Suddenly. A whoa. A piercing wolf howl tore through the dead night, close as if right beside him. Chapter 21. Marcus's heart sank. He was about to search for Raven down the mountain. But unexpectedly, a gun barrel suddenly pressed hard against his lower back. Ryan's venomous voice carried mad laughter. Don't move. Marcus, surprised. You think those cops could hold me? His breathing was rapid. That stupid Raven, torturing me inhuman for you. She thinks I'm a pushover. I'd crawl out. What do you want? Marcus's body trembled slightly, but his eyes remained fixed on where Raven had disappeared over the cliff. What do I want? Ryan laughed shrilly, forcefully shoving him forward toward the cliff edge. Waiting. Waiting for her to climb up. Waiting for her to watch how I tear you apart piece by piece to feed the wolves. Let her taste true agony. A piercing wolf howl from below seemed to echo Ryan's curse. Marcus's face paled further, not from fear, but hatred. Hatred for all the disasters Raven had brought, more hatred for his current powerlessness. Let him go. A hoarse roar erupted. Raven suddenly flipped up from behind a cliff rock. She was blood-soaked all over, left pinky mangled, but her right hand death gripped a lover's tears plant. The woman's eyes were wild, bloodshot, locked straight on Ryan holding Marcus hostage. Raven Cross. Seeing her, Ryan's eyes exploded with more twisted satisfaction. Look at yourself now. Throwing away your life for this trash. Too bad, he's about to die. He shoved Marcus forward hard, knife slashing Marcus's arm, blood gushing. The strong blood scent spread in the night wind. A whoa. In darkness, several pairs of green beast eyes suddenly lit up. Low growls approached. The wolf pack's ferocity was completely triggered. Ryan. You dare. Raven's eyes split with rage, trying to charge over but blocked by hungry wolves. See if I dare. Ryan laughed madly, pushing Marcus toward the wolf pack. Go Marcus. Let your good lover see how you're torn apart. Just like she had people tear me apart. Marcus stumbled and fell. Several hungry wolves immediately pounced with bared fangs. Survival instinct overwhelmed everything. He grabbed rocks, smashing hard at the nearest wolf. Mark. Raven exploded with shocking strength. The lover's tears in her hand was shoved into her clothes. Her bloody fist smashed hard into a pouncing wolf's head. She fought like a maddened beast, recklessly killing toward Marcus, using her body to block attacks for him. Claws tore her back, fangs bit her arm. She grunted but didn't retreat a step, desperately shielding Marcus in the narrow space behind her. Marcus watched her shield him with bloody combat. His heart held no gratitude, only overwhelming hatred and absurdity. This woman gave him the deepest love and deepest wounds, now using her life to protect him. Too late. Everything too late. Raven Cross. Get away. I don't need your rescue. Marcus roared. Voice carrying broken despair. Raven's body stiffened. A wolf heavily rammed her waist, making her stumble to her knees. She turned back, her bloody face showing pain and pleading. Mark, sorry, hold on. Just as Raven was distracted, a shadow moved faster. Ryan, hiding at the chaos's edge, showed the most vicious cold light in his eyes. He didn't want Marcus killed by wolves. He wanted to end him personally. More importantly, he wanted Raven to watch the man she desperately protected die under his gun. He raised his gun sharply, barrel aimed at Marcus behind Raven. Marcus. Go to hell. Be star-crossed lovers in the underworld. Ryan screamed, pulling the trigger. No. Raven's pupils contracted sharply. Body faster than thought, she used her last strength to shove Marcus away hard. Simultaneously, her entire body was completely exposed to the gun. Bang. The gunshot was deafening. The sound of bullet-piercing flesh was muffled yet clear. Raven's body shook violently, chest instantly exploding in blood. Time seemed frozen. The wolf pack retreated temporarily from the gunshot. Raven opened her mouth, massive blood pouring out. She used her last strength to pull the blood-soaked lover's tears from her clothes. Mark, sorry, I haven't repaid enough debt. I love you. Before finishing, her body crashed down. The blood-stained herb rolled to Marcus's feet. Raven Cross. Ryan screamed, laughing hard. You have this day too? Ha ha ha. Marcus stared blankly at the lover's tears at his feet, then at Raven's lifeless body. The crushed place in his chest suddenly emptied. Hatred, pain. All the past seemed to sink into silence too, leaving only boundless cold. Just then, helicopter rotors approached. The cabin door opened. Tessa's figure appeared, police guns accurately aimed at Ryan. Marcus. Come up. Tessa's voice pierced the wind. Marcus looked one last time at Raven, eyes completely returning to dead calm. He didn't pick up that herb, as if that symbol carrying all love and hate no longer concerned him. Then he staggered but firmly walked toward the dropped ladder, never looking back. Ryan's wailing suddenly stopped, heart forever ceasing to beat. Cold moonlight illuminated the woman who'd lost her life on the cliff and that forgotten lover's tears. The helicopter rose, carrying Marcus, completely flying from this purgatory that buried all his blood and tears. Chapter 22. 3 months passed silently. In the city's highest penthouse office, Tessa pushed a gold-embossed appointment letter across the desk. The position title was prestigious, benefits enviable to anyone. Chief Consultant of RZ&D Center, Tessa's voice was steady. Your professional ability shouldn't be buried. Platform, resources all top tier. Marcus's gaze swept those shining words. Without pause, he gently pushed away the appointment letter. No need. I've booked a ticket to the Southwest. Southwest? Tessa's brow furrowed slightly. There are children. Marcus interrupted, looking up, gaze meeting her eyes' depths. Inside was no resentment, only calm. Many sick children. They need doctors there. The office fell silent. Tessa looked at the man before her. He'd lost much weight. Now he only had an almost cruel calm. Her lips moved slightly. All dissuading words circled her tongue before being silently swallowed. Days later, Marcus's apartment was completely emptied. Only a note pressed on the living room coffee table. I'm leaving. No signature, no date. Tessa held that paper, unsettled. The remote mountain village barely findable on maps. Winding mountain roads hung like twisted gray ribbons on barren mountainsides. The SUV kicked up yellow dust, stopping before the adobe school. Dust swirled on the playground. A group of children surrounded a white-coated figure. Marcus crouched on the ground, back to her. He was cleaning a scraped wound for a runny-nosed boy. Movements meticulous, expression rarely gentle. Dr. Chen. A 5 or 6-year-old boy squeezed out, small hand tightly clutching something, offering it to Marcus like treasure. It was candy, probably carried in his pocket long, already somewhat melted and misshapen. Sweet. The boy looked up, eyes bright with expectation. Marcus's movements paused. He looked at the candy, then at the boy's innocent smile. Tessa thought he'd refuse. But he didn't. He extended his hand, taking the sticky candy. Under the boy's eager gaze, he peeled the dirty wrapper, revealing the half-melted candy. Then slowly put it in his mouth. Sunset poured down, gently outlining his lowered profile. He chewed very slowly. Sweet. His voice was low. Tessa stood dozens of feet away. She watched him swallow the candy, watched him raise his hand to rub the boy's messy hair. She silently stepped back, leaning against the cold car door, not disturbing. But her gaze rooted firmly on that thin figure. Just then, near the classroom's earthen wall shadows, a figure moved. The person wore common local villager's old jacket but moved with unusual alertness. Just as they raised a hand to adjust their cap, light flashed from their index finger. Tessa's pupils flickered. That dragon head ring style was Northern Syndicate members' token. The figure seemed to sense something, quickly shoving their hand in the jacket pocket before turning. Moving swiftly into deeper shadows behind the classroom. In the playground center, Marcus seemed completely unaware. He'd just put a small clean gauze on the boy's knee. The child grinned again, showing gap teeth. But Tessa's gaze locked dead on the shadow that swallowed the figure. She absolutely wouldn't allow Marcus to be hurt again. Chapter 23. Tessa pursued like a leopard locking onto prey. Marcus in the distance had actually noticed Tessa long ago. Seeing the woman's hurried steps, he quickly took 3 silver needles, silently following. Ahead came muffled fighting sounds and suppressed grunts. He quickened his pace. Turning around a boulder, his pupils contracted sharply. The Northern Syndicate remnant was pinned under Tessa. The man's face was blood-splattered, eyes vicious. Just then, cold light flashed from the remnant's sleeve, stabbing straight at Tessa's unguarded back. Marcus didn't think. Silver needles left his hand. As he lunged forward. Thud. Blade entering flesh, deep to the hilt. Ugh. Tessa's body shook violently, pain blackening her vision. She turned back sharply, crimson eyes meeting Marcus's pale face. Run. He roared. His remaining hand twisted, hard bones cracked. The attacker's scream died unvoiced as he collapsed limply. Threat eliminated, Tessa's slender body swayed. Marcus didn't run. He didn't even glance at the ground. Fingers ghost quick, 3 silver needles precisely entered several major acupoints on her shoulder and neck. Blood flow visibly slowed. Shut up. His undeniable command. As he checked the wound. You die, who pays my consultation fee? Tessa's vision blackened with pain, but her lips curved. Won't die. Can't, default on you. In the simple village clinic. Strong disinfectant and blood scent mixed. Marcus moved efficiently, cutting away blood-stuck fabric. The wound gaped hideously, edges showing ominous blue-black. Knife was poisoned. His voice cold, iodine-soaked cotton pressed mercilessly into the wound depths. Hiss. Tessa gasped, forehead veins bulging. Know it hurts now? Marcus's pressure didn't lessen at all. He lowered his eyes, long lashes hiding all emotion. Weren't you impressive chasing people? Tessa panted, looking up at him. Under lamplight, his profile was taut. That scum wanted to hurt you. Her voice was hoarse but exceptionally clear. Marcus's wound-cleaning hand paused almost imperceptibly. Tweezers picked up a poisoned cloth piece, throwing it in the curved tray with a light sound. He didn't look up or respond. Cool needle tip pierced skin, medicine slowly pushed in. Tessa's tense muscles gradually relaxed, burning pain easing. Marcus's bandaging hand suddenly tightened forcefully. Hiss. Tessa's eyes snapped open in pain. Who wants to owe you? He looked up sharply. Tessa Tao, I dragged this life back from death's door. Without my permission, dare to die and try? Eyes met. Only gasps and anger silently collided in the air. Tessa looked at him steadily. After a while, she smiled. Fine, listening to Dr. Chen. Late night, thunder exploded. Tessa developed high fever. Wound infection plus residual poison came fiercely. She fell semi-conscious, body burning. Marcus wrung cold towels, repeatedly wiping her burning forehead and neck. Sweat-soaked hair stuck to her pale cheeks, showing fragile beauty. Don't go, she unconsciously grabbed his wrist, grip frighteningly strong. Marcus, don't leave me. Marcus struggled once without breaking free. He knew her feelings for him. He was just truly tired, hence hiding in the southwest. But unexpectedly she still followed, even got hurt for him. He closed his eyes hard, taking a deep breath. He didn't withdraw his hand, letting her grip tightly. His other hand pulled the worn blanket, forcefully wrapping her body along. With her clinging hand. After a long while, an extremely light sigh dispersed in the pattering rain, barely audible. Chapter 24. A year later, Southwest Mountain Village, dawn breaking. The simple clinic door creaked open. Marcus emerged with his medicine box. Dr. Chen. Several mud monkey-like children rushed over, holding wild fruits. Sweet. Marcus crouched, taking one. Bit into it. Juice slightly sour and astringent. He rubbed a child's head. Go play. Children ran off laughing. His lips curved in the faintest arc. An SUV rolled up the slope trailing dust. Derek jumped out, unloading several large boxes. Mark. Derek's smile was bright. Ms. Tao sent these. Winter clothes for the children are ready too. Marcus didn't refuse. Thank her for me. Should do. Derek lowered his voice. Those Northern Syndicate stragglers are completely dealt with. Don't worry. Marcus laughed lightly. Understood. Derek got in the car and drove away in dust. Dust settled. The mountain village returned to quiet. Since that day, Tessa had left the southwest village but not really left. Just changed how she protected him. He'd always known. He was grateful to her. Love isn't only staying together. It can also be letting go. Marcus turned back to the clinic, his battlefield still here. Dr. Chen, the nurse, handed him water, smiling. The foundation allocated more funds, specifically for mountain children's congenital heart disease. The name's quite special, Lovers Tears Children's Medical Foundation. Marcus's hand holding the cup trembled almost imperceptibly. Warm water down his throat warmed some cold corner of his heart. Fierce wind drove bean-sized raindrops against the tin roof, banging loudly. The simple clinic rocked like a boat in rough seas. The kerosene lamp flickered. Dr. Chen. Grandma Wang's adobe house on the back mountain, half collapsed. Grandma Chen and her grandson are still trapped inside. The village chief charged in soaking wet. Marcus immediately grabbed the emergency kit and flashlight. Let's go. The muddy mountain path had become a mud bog from the storm. The flashlight beam struggled to cut through the rain curtain. Under the collapsed earthen wall came faint sounds, a child's terrified wails and the grandmother's weak moans. Grandma. Hold on. Marcus tried moving the beam, pinning the old woman's leg, but it wouldn't budge. Rainwater mixed with mud covered his face. Move aside. A cold female voice pierced the storm. Marcus turned sharply. Headlights cut through the rainy night. Tessa's figure stood backlit, soaked through. Several agile people followed behind her. Without a word, she stepped over the rubble. Slender arms gripped the heavy beam, muscles straining. 1, 2, 3. With a rumble, the beam was forcibly lifted to create a gap. Quick. She growled low. Marcus instantly snapped back, joining villagers to drag out the grandmother and grandson. The child cried loudly in fear. The grandmother's leg was deformed. To the clinic. Marcus checked injuries, speaking rapidly. Tessa's people quickly took over, lifting stretchers. Wind and rain too heavy, mountain roads difficult. Tessa pulled off her soaked jacket, covering Marcus's head without discussion, blocking the downpour. Her body heat transmitted through the wet fabric. You. Marcus tried to pull it off. Wear it. Her tone brooked no refusal. Small hands steadily supported his arm, blocking most wind and rain for him. Silent all the way. Only heavy breathing and howling wind and rain. The clinic blazed with light. Marcus immediately threw himself into rescue work. Cleaning wounds, setting bones, 4 drips, movements practiced and calm. Tessa stood in the doorway shadows like a silent guardian statue. She watched the focused figure under lamplight, eyes complex. After handling everything, it was already late night. Marcus was exhausted near collapse, leaning against the door frame. Tessa handed over hot water. Here. Marcus took it, warmth spreading from his palms. Thank you. Also thank you. For coming. Happened to be nearby. Tessa's tone was flat, gaze sweeping the simple but clean clinic. This place is good. The children need you. Marcus looked at the mountain silhouettes behind the rain curtain. Here, brings peace. Silence, only water dripping from eaves. How have you been lately? Tessa asked softly. You? Marcus looked up at Tessa. Under lamplight, fine lines showed at her eye corners. Still hate? Tessa met his gaze, deep as ocean. Hated once. But the blood debt. She paid it back. She paused, voice lowering. You being alive is enough. Marcus nodded slightly. A heavy release flowed silently. They both carried too much, finally able to set some down. The foundation, good name. Marcus said softly. Tessa's eyes flashed with faint light. Lovers' tears shouldn't only represent separation and suffering. She looked at the gradually brightening sky outside. It can also be rebirth and hope, like those children. Marcus followed her gaze. On the eastern horizon, ink blue. Faded, showing a hint of fish belly white. The deepest night was about to pass. I should go. Tessa picked up her soaked jacket. Tessa. Marcus called to her. She stopped without turning. Take care. He said. Thousands of words reduced to 2. Tessa's shoulder moved almost imperceptibly. Her low voice came, melting into the cool morning breeze. You too. I'll come see the children again another day. She strode into the dim morning light. Marcus stood at the clinic door, watching that figure go far, grow small. Finally disappear. Wind brought the fresh scent of post-rain earth and grass. He took a deep breath and turned back inside. On the table, that cup of water still held warmth. Outside the window, the first ray of golden sunlight illuminated the small wooden sign on the clinic's weathered door, Hope Clinic.